In response to recent U.S. trade measures, German Chancellor Olaf Scholz has expressed strong support for Canada and criticized President Donald Trump's actions. Scholz emphasized Canada's sovereignty, stating, "Canada is not a federal state of anyone. Canada is a proud, independent nation." Further to the United States' recent imposition of a 25% tariff on imported vehicles, President Donald Trump has issued stern warnings to both the European Union and Canada against coordinated retaliatory measures. He cautioned that any joint efforts by these entities to counteract U.S. tariffs would be met with far larger levies, emphasizing that such actions would be considered attempts to inflict economic harm on the United States. On his Truth Social platform, Trump stated, "If the European Union works with Canada in order to do economic harm to the USA, large-scale tariffs, far larger than currently planned, will be placed on them both, in order to protect the best friend that each of these countries has ever had." Despite these warnings, German officials have openly expressed solidarity with Canada and signaled readiness for a unified response. Today, at the opening of the Hanover Industrial Trade Fair, German Chancellor Olaf Scholz addressed recent developments in international trade and geopolitical relations. The fair, which this year features Canada as its partner country, served as a platform for Scholz to emphasize the importance of cooperation and mutual respect among nations. In response to Trump's remarks about annexing Canada and referring to it as the 51st U.S. state, Scholz underscored Canada's sovereignty, stating that Canada is not a state that belongs to anyone else. Canada is a proud, independent nation. Expressing solidarity with Canada amidst these assertions, Scholz issued a cautionary note regarding potential U.S. tariffs on steel and aluminum, stating that while Europe seeks cooperation, it is prepared to respond collectively if such tariffs are imposed. He highlighted that trade wars are detrimental to all parties involved, noting that Europe wants to cooperate with the United States but stands ready to act as one if Washington leaves it no choice. This is not the first time Germany's leadership has opposed Trump. On March 27th, Scholz criticized Trump's decision to impose tariffs on cars, stating, "U.S. President Trump's decision is wrong. The U.S. has chosen a path at whose end lie only losers, since tariffs and isolation hurt prosperity for everyone." He underscored the commitment of Germany and the European Union to defend free trade, highlighting its foundational role in their economic success. These statements come in the context of recent tensions, including Trump's contemplation of annexing Greenland and Canada, which have drawn international attention and concern. Scholz's remarks highlight a commitment to upholding international law and the inviolability of national borders, as Canada and Germany have been actively strengthening their trade relations, especially in light of recent global trade tensions and the need for diversified economic partnerships. A significant milestone in Canada-Germany trade relations is Canada's role as the official partner country for the world's leading industrial technology trade fair, scheduled from March 31st to April 4th, 2025. This partnership provides a platform for up to 250 Canadian companies to showcase their innovations in advanced manufacturing technologies to a global audience, underscoring the deepening economic ties between the two nations and highlighting Canada's commitment to green, digital, and resilient manufacturing solutions. In response to the U.S. administration's tariff threats, Canada and Germany have intensified efforts to diversify their trade relationships. Canadian companies and diplomats are collaborating with European counterparts to explore new business opportunities and reduce reliance on U.S. markets. Chvin Bellman, Germany's ambassador to Canada, emphasized the importance of creating new business avenues and diversifying trade to mitigate the impact of U.S. trade policies. The Canada-European Union Comprehensive Economic and Trade Agreement, often referred to as CEDA, has been instrumental in enhancing trade between Canada and Germany. Provisionally in effect since 2017, CEDA has facilitated increased bilateral trade by reducing tariffs and fostering economic integration. The German Bundestag's ratification of CEDA in December 2022 further solidified this commitment, signaling a positive trajectory for future trade relations. As of 2023, Canada exported approximately $6.16 billion worth of goods to Germany. Key exports included iron ore at $995 million, crude petroleum at $576 million, and packaged medicaments at $429 million. Over the past 5 years, Canadian exports to Germany have grown at an annualized rate of 6.36%, reflecting a strengthening trade relationship. Beyond trade, Canada and Germany have a robust history of collaboration in science and research. Since the signing of the German-Canadian Intergovernmental Agreement on Scientific and Technological Cooperation in 1971, over 1,000 bilateral collaborations have been established among research organizations, universities, and the private sector. These partnerships have fostered innovation and knowledge exchange, further cementing the strong ties between the two countries. In the energy sector, Canada and Germany have established a hydrogen alliance to facilitate the trade of hydrogen and its derivatives between the two nations. This initiative aims to have initial exports by 2025, contributing to both countries' goals of transitioning to cleaner energy sources and reducing carbon emissions. Overall, Canada and Germany continue to build a multifaceted partnership, leveraging opportunities in trade, technology, and energy to navigate the evolving global economic landscape. Since December 2024, tensions between Canada and the United States have escalated due to President Trump's repeated suggestions of annexing Canada as the 51st U.S. state. Initially perceived as a jest, these remarks have gained gravity over time, particularly with the imposition of tariffs and other economic measures. In December 2024, during a meeting with Canadian officials, Trump suggested that Canada consider becoming the 51st U.S. state, referring to Prime Minister Justin Trudeau as Governor Justin Trudeau of the great state of Canada. Although initially dismissed as a joke, Trump's continued references to annexation have raised concerns among Canadian leaders. On February 1, 2025, President Trump signed executive orders imposing 25% tariffs on all Canadian goods, excluding oil and energy exports, which faced a 10% tariff. These measures were justified as efforts to reduce the U.S. trade deficit and compel Canada to enhance border security against illegal immigration and drug trafficking. Trump suggested that Canada could avoid these tariffs by becoming the 51st U.S. state, stating, "We need to protect Americans, and it is my duty as president to ensure the safety of all." The annexation rhetoric has significantly influenced Canadian politics. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau warned that Trump's suggestions should be taken seriously, citing U.S. interest in Canada's vast mineral resources, transportation, and internal trade. Transport and internal trade. Minister Anita Anand emphasized the inviolability of the U.S.-Canada border. Trudeau convened business and labor leaders to strategize responses to Trump's tariff threats and the broader implications for Canada-U.S. relations. Trump's annexation and tariff threats have triggered a powerful surge of Canadian nationalism since January 2025, uniting citizens across the political spectrum in defense of national sovereignty and identity. This patriotic wave has manifested in both grassroots movements and official policy decisions, reshaping Canada's cultural and economic landscape. Widespread boycotts of American manufactured goods began shortly after Trump's February announcement of sweeping tariffs on Canadian imports. The boycotts have been fueled by calls from local leaders and viral social media campaigns encouraging Canadians to buy domestic and avoid U.S.-based brands. Major grocery chains, apparel retailers, and even coffee shops have reported increased demand for domestic alternatives. Some stores have started labeling products with Made in Canada tags more prominently, while others have designated special shelves or sections for Canadian-made goods. Cultural tensions have spilled into public spaces as well. Canadian fans at hockey and basketball games have been booing the U.S. national anthem or choosing to remain seated in silent protest, a rare expression of political dissent in Canada's traditionally sports-neutral arenas. This form of protest has drawn international attention and has become a talking point in U.S. media, where reactions range from confusion to outrage. A powerful symbol of this resistance emerged from an Ottawa-based branding company that launched a line of red baseball caps bearing the phrase, "Canada is not for sale." The design intentionally mimics the iconic "Make America Great Again" caps popularized by Trump, turning his own branding against him. The caps quickly became a viral hit with celebrities, politicians, and ordinary citizens who donned them in defiance of what they see as American overreach. The movement gained significant momentum when Ontario Premier Doug Ford was spotted wearing the cap during a press conference on economic resilience. Ford, typically seen as a pro-business conservative with historically warm ties to the United States, called Trump's annexation rhetoric dangerous and delusional, and urged Ontarians to support Canadian workers. His public endorsement of the nationalist gear signaled a turning point, making the cap not only a cultural statement, but also a bipartisan political symbol. Social media campaigns using hashtags like hashtag #HandsOffCanada, hashtag #NotForSale, and hashtag #Mapler have trended repeatedly in Canada and internationally. Schools and community groups have held rallies and educational forums emphasizing Canadian history, sovereignty, and values. The government has even announced funding for a nationwide public campaign celebrating Canadian independence and resilience in the face of foreign pressure. Internationally, President Trump's expansionist rhetoric has raised concerns. His proposals to annex Canada, purchase Greenland, and take control of the Panama Canal have been viewed as a departure from traditional U.S. foreign policy. Policy analysts caution that these threats may be more than bluster, warning of potential destabilizing effects on global geopolitics. The relationship between the United States and Germany has experienced significant strain due to the Trump administration's overt support for Germany's far-right alternative für Deutschland, AfD party. This backing has been manifested through high-profile engagements and public endorsements by key U.S. officials and allies, leading to heightened diplomatic tensions between the two nations. In February 2025, U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance met with Alice Weidel, the leader of the AfD, during the Munich Security Conference. This meeting broke a long-standing taboo in German politics, as mainstream parties have traditionally maintained a firewall against the far right. Vance's discussions with Weidel covered topics such as the war in Ukraine and German domestic politics, with his comment that if you're running in fear of your own voters, there is nothing America can do for you, drawing sharp criticism from German officials. In January 2025, Elon Musk, a prominent U.S. entrepreneur and senior administration official, engaged in actions that sparked significant controversy and condemnation. Musk addressed a rally for Germany's far-right AfD via video link, urging Germans to move beyond their focus on past guilt associated with the Holocaust. This further exacerbated the situation when Musk attempted to downplay the controversy by posting a series of Nazi-themed puns on his social media platform X, formerly Twitter. He wrote, "Don't say he's to Nazi accusations. Some people will gerbil anything down." Referencing prominent Nazi figures Rudolf Hess and Joseph Goebbels, these actions led to a broader backlash. A coalition of Jewish organizations in the United States and Canada announced plans to cease engagement on X in response to Musk's conduct. Additionally, some asset managers have faced pressure from Jewish investors to divest from Tesla, Musk's electric vehicle company. Musk's endorsement of the AfD has also been met with political criticism. German Chancellor Olaf Scholz warned that Musk's support for the far-right party endangers European democracy. Despite the AfD's controversial and extreme views, Musk's backing has helped the party gain mainstream attention, increasing its popularity. The Trump administration's support for the AfD has had tangible effects on German politics. In the February 2025 federal election, the AfD doubled its support, becoming the second-largest party in the Bundestag. Friedrich Merz, leader of the center-right Christian Democratic Union, CDU, and poised to become Germany's next chancellor, accused President Trump of indifference to Europe's plight and criticized Washington's interference in the election, stating, "We are under massive pressure from both sides, and my absolute priority now is to establish unity in Europe." Trump's alignment with the AfD reflects a broader strategy of supporting right-wing European movements that challenge liberal democratic values and transatlantic alliances. This approach has led to increased anti-American sentiment in Germany and has complicated diplomatic relations. The administration's actions are seen as undermining Germany's democratic norms and have prompted calls for Europe to strengthen its autonomy in defense and foreign policy. The United States remains a critical market for Germany's automotive industry, with motor vehicle exports to the U.S. totaling approximately $25.6 billion in 2024. These exports account for a significant share of Germany's overall trade and are central to its manufacturing economy. German automakers such as Volkswagen, BMW, and Mercedes-Benz have long depended on the American consumer market, which represented more than 13% of all German vehicle exports last year. However, Trump's announcement in March 2025 to impose a 25% tariff on imported cars and selected auto parts, set to take effect on April 3rd, has sent shockwaves through the German economy. These tariffs are framed by the Trump administration as a move to protect U.S. manufacturing and reduce trade imbalances. Trump himself declared the tariffs would be permanent, adding that he couldn't care less about price hikes on foreign-aid cars, a comment that sparked outrage in German political and business circles. Finance Minister Dirk Kukis warned that the tariffs would deliver a blow not only to Germany's economy, but also to U.S. consumers and workers. He stressed the importance of transatlantic cooperation and called for urgent dialogue to prevent an escalation into a full-blown trade war. Economists estimate that German car exports to the United States could drop by as much as 30% as a direct result of the tariffs. The increased costs are likely to be passed on to consumers, making German vehicles less competitive in the U.S. market. At the same time, tariffs on auto parts threaten to disrupt global supply chains, particularly for German companies that assemble vehicles in North America using components imported from Europe. Financial markets have already responded to the uncertainty. Shares of major German automakers fell sharply following Trump's announcement, with investors expressing concern over the long-term consequences for the industry. The German Association of the Automotive Industry, VDA, issued a statement warning of job losses and reduced innovation capacity if the tariffs persist. Industry insiders are concerned not only about immediate financial impacts but also about potential damage to Germany's reputation as a leader in high-quality automotive engineering. The broader economic implications for Germany are considerable, as the auto industry employs nearly 800,000 people in Germany and contributes around 5% of the country's GDP. A prolonged downturn in exports could trigger ripple effects across other sectors, including steel, electronics, and logistics. In anticipation, the German government is reportedly exploring a mix of domestic stimulus measures and intensified trade negotiations through the European Union to mitigate the fallout. Many in Germany view Trump's actions as part of a broader strategy of economic coercion aimed at fracturing the European Union and asserting American dominance. The tariffs, combined with recent overtures from the Trump administration to far-right political groups in Europe, have led to a reassessment in Berlin of the reliability of the United States as an economic and strategic partner. As the April tariff deadline approaches, pressure is mounting on both sides to find a resolution. While Europe has pledged to respond collectively if provoked, the prospect of retaliatory tariffs threatens to escalate the situation further. For Germany, the challenge is now to defend its economic interests without deepening transatlantic rifts that could have lasting consequences for global trade and geopolitical stability. And that's the latest on today's top stories. What are your thoughts? If you'd like to dive deeper into any of these topics or explore related issues, feel free to leave a comment. Thank you for tuning in and spending your time with us. Stay informed, stay curious, and we'll see you next time. Take care.